Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Mansi Ashta, a practicing physiotherapist and fitness consultant. I welcome you all to this webinar. Today, we all are gathered to say goodbye to fat and hello to healthy life. On your screen on the left-hand side below, you all can see a post a question tab. During the course of the presentation, you all can post in a question by clicking on this tab, which will be taken up after the presentation. The word fat is close enough to an insult that it catches the attention in a title. But what it conveys beyond that is a little more complicated. When the word fat pops up, should we laugh, be afraid, get angry, or feel guilty? This dreaded three-letter word fat shocks us. Imagine one fine day you choose to wear your favorite pair of denims that you probably have not worn since months together, and you find that ugly something popping around your waist. Certainly not something you would want to imagine, or definitely not experience it in reality. To understand what fat is in the simplest possible way, just stand naked in front of the mirror and start jumping up and down. Whatever is jumping even after you stop is fat. Unlike muscle, fat hangs, fat sags, fat jiggles. So the more the jiggle wiggle in your body, the more fat you're carrying. Fat is like a killer clown that may honk a horn at you. It affects the quality of life in a very bad way. Through the magic of media firestorm, fatness is now looked on as a killer disease. Jokes and insults around fat have wounded many people and even killed vulnerable women who thought better dead than fat. But is body fat so bad as it seems? Should we all aim at a fat-free body? Not really. All fat is not bad. Body fat has many important functions. It is used as an emergency energy reserve. It is the primary energy source in the absence of carbohydrates. It helps to keep the body warm, thus very useful for thermal insulation. It's like body's own jacket against lower temperatures. It provides cushioning to the internal organs and functions as a shock absorber. So when does this body fat turn ugly? To know the answer, let's understand the types of body fat. There are two main types of fat that surrounds your body: subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. Subcutaneous fat is the layer that lies directly under your skin and top of your muscles. So the next time you look at your arms and think that the skin or the muscle in that area has got loose, so it's hanging, then think again. When people point at your jelly belly and women complain of the jiggle butt every time they try to fit into tight pants, remember, nothing has got loose. It's purely excess body fat. It's the subcutaneous fat in abundance that gives you a lumpy look. That's the ugly truth about subcutaneous fat. Visceral fat, on the other hand, lies deep within the body, surrounding your organs. Most of our vital organs are located around the abdomen. Say the liver, stomach, intestines, kidneys, urinary bladder, the reproductive system, all of these are in the center of your body. So a big belly would suggest excess visceral fat. Now for all the men out there, how often has your friend or colleague commented on your belly? Whether you drink beer or not, the term beer belly is something we all are aware of. What needs to be remembered here is that whether it be subcutaneous or visceral fat, fat around the thighs or fat around the abdomen, all of this is body's fat. It is basically the unused calorie which is stored as fat. You can't call fat around the thigh as thigh fat or fat around the belly as abdomen fat. Understand one thing, We can't compare two people and say that one has more arm fat and the other has more thigh fat. Fat does not belong to any body part. All the fat belongs to your body. It's just body fat. Excess of body fat is unhealthy. Visceral fat appears to be more dangerous, making it the number one risk factor for most medical conditions. So when does body fat become excess and dangerous? To know the answer, we first need to know what is the ideal body composition. The ideal ratio of fat and muscle is called as the ideal body composition. Let's understand this with an example. For a given body weight, let's say 60 kgs, if a man carries more than 15% fat and a woman carries more than 20% fat, then it suggests that they are carrying excess body fat. So in the given scenario, it would mean that the man is carrying more than 9 kgs of fat and the woman is carrying more than 12 kgs of fat. It is very clear. The more the body fat, more the health risk. Up till now, all we have heard is that excess fat, mainly the visceral fat, is a risk factor for major health problems. Now, it's the time we face reality and see how excess fat stings the human body. Diabetes. Excess body fat is the leading cause of type 2 diabetes. When we eat, the pancreas releases insulin. Insulin is a hormone that regulates blood sugar levels. It sits on the receptors in the cells, allowing blood sugar to enter the cells for use in energy production. Excess body fat causes insulin resistance in the body. That is, the cells are unable to use insulin to convert sugar into energy. So the sugar remains in the bloodstream and elevates the blood sugar levels, thus leading to type 2 diabetes. Heart diseases. Overweight and obese people, that is people who carry excess body fat, have an increased incidence of heart diseases, and they thus fall victim to heart attacks, angina, and many other heart-related problems. Excess visceral fat is the main culprit here. People with an excessive amount of body fat have higher levels of triglycerides and low-density lipoprotein, which is also known as LDL or bad cholesterol. They also have lower levels of high-density lipoprotein, which is known as HDL or good cholesterol. This recipe creates optimal conditions for developing heart diseases. Hypertension. Many theories have been associated with obesity-induced hypertension, that is, high blood pressure. As fat increases, it constricts the arteries and veins, leading to their narrowing. The narrow blood vessel will apply resistance to the blood flowing in them, thus increasing blood pressure. Obesity leads to reabsorption of sodium from the kidney, thus affecting blood volume and increasing blood pressure. It also interferes with some enzyme activity that manages blood pressure. Hypertension in turn leads to many other health problems like heart diseases, kidney diseases, stroke, and many more. Stroke. The leading cause of stroke is hypertension. So obesity or excess body fat indirectly becomes a risk factor for stroke. Stroke means half-side paralysis of the body. The person is not able to use one side of the body because of weakness. Speech is also affected. The recovery takes a lot of time and is mostly incomplete. Stroke affects the quality of life to a greater extent. Kidney problems. Excess body fat obesity-induced hypertension together affect kidney function. Obesity triples the rate of kidney failure. Infertility. Polycystic ovary syndrome is the most common hormonal disorder in reproductive age women who are either overweight or obese. The women will have irregular menstrual cycles, multiple cysts in the ovaries, and excessive hair growth. Polycystic ovary syndrome is a leading cause of infertility and also insulin resistance. It thus becomes a major factor in increasing a woman's risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
Next slide.
Respiratory problems. There is a respiratory condition where the flow of air pauses or decreases while we are asleep. It's called as the obstructive sleep apnea. Then there is a condition where the obese person finds it difficult to take deep breaths, leading to low blood oxygen levels and high blood carbon dioxide levels. This is called as obesity hypoventilation syndrome. Most of us are aware of asthma, that is difficulty in breathing. All these conditions are closely associated with obesity or excess body fat. And the only way to get rid of them would be losing that excess fat that you are carrying. Liver and gallbladder diseases. There's a wide spectrum of liver diseases that we get to see because of excess body fat. There could be accumulation of fat in the liver, called as non-alcoholic fatty liver. This may in turn lead to liver inflammation, again because of fat. Cirrhosis of liver, that is liver damage. All of this because of excess body fat. For those who used to believe that excess alcohol intake is the main reason for liver damage, it's time you think again. All of the stages of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease are now believed to be due to insulin resistance. And we know that insulin resistance is closely associated with obesity and excess body fat. Gallbladder stones are also closely associated with excess visceral fat. Cancer. Fat tissue produces excess amounts of estrogen, high levels of which are associated with the risk of breast cancer and many other cancers. There are many mechanisms by which obesity is related to increased risk of certain cancers. Joint pains. It is very common to see an obese person complaining of low back pain, knee pain and heel pain. Ever wondered why? When we carry excess body fat, the joints and the surrounding structures can't take the additional stress. It predisposes them to wear and tear and early degeneration. It is said that every kg increase in body weight puts 8 times more load and stress on the knee joint. So imagine the state of poor knee joint when you probably are 10 to 15 kgs overweight or even more. Lastly, depression. There has been some debate over whether depression causes obesity or obesity causes depression. This is a chicken or the egg argument, as the two are very much connected. Obesity can cause low self-esteem, poor self-image, and society isolation. Obese person feels discriminated. Other health problems linked with obesity add to the misery. There have been reported cases of suicide because of depression seen in obese people. After knowing about the health risk associated with excess body fat, I am sure all of us now want to welcome good health and say goodbye to fat. So how do we do that? Should we get into our running shoes and start running? Or should we start dieting? No, no, no. The answer is very simple and straightforward. Fat loss is most effective with an increase in basal metabolic rate, that is BMR. BMR, in very simple words, would mean the number of calories your body burns in a day while you are at relative rest, that is, while doing no physical work. We by now know that body fat is nothing but body's unused calories. If we program our body to burn more calories, we will lose more fat. But what's the secret recipe to burning more calories? The main ingredient is the muscle. Muscle is a metabolically active tissue. They are used to produce movement, which results in calorie burning. It becomes very clear that the more muscle we carry, the more calories will burn through the day. Isn't that good news? Because what we get is an elevated BMR. So basically, our body would be burning good amount of calories in activities like watching TV, sleeping, talking on the phone, texting messages, be it any activity. Increased BMR would just do the right thing for us. That is, help us lose that ugly, jiggly, wiggly body fat. Did I just say more the muscle we carry, the more calories we burn? So how do we carry more muscle? Muscle is not something we would get at a slimming center by having electric current running through the body. Neither would we get it in a bottle which says herbal way to lose fat. We need to build muscle. And to do so, we need to challenge it with load. Weight training by far is the best way to build muscle. It causes micro trauma to the muscle. In response to that, the body starts the process of growth and repair. And this very process is a great consumer of calories throughout the day, bumping up the BMR immediately. Thus, increased muscle and the very process of increasing the muscle both increases BMR. The next ingredient would be proper diet. It works like spices in food. Too little, no taste. Too much spoils the taste. Just the balanced amount would make the perfect dish. In this case, a healthy body. A good diet supported with the right protein intake, fiber, good quality fat, taken at regular intervals will increase the BMR. The harder the food is to digest, and the more it is used in metabolic activities, the more calorie burning. And that will lead to increasing your BMR. Correct nutrition is a very important factor in carrying out repair process necessary to build muscle. Lastly, to garnish the fantastic dish we prepared, we need to run to get the third ingredient. That is, cardiovascular activities. Activities like running or walking on the treadmill, cycling, swimming, concentrate only on the amount of calories burnt during the exercise and have no impact on calorie burning through the day, thus making weight training the best tool for fat loss. Nevertheless, cardiovascular activities do burn calories at a good rate while we perform them, and they improve the heart and the lungs' capacity to supply oxygen-rich blood to the muscles for an extended period of time without getting tired. The benefits of cardiovascular activities cannot be overlooked in giving us a healthy life. So the secret recipe includes a proper diet, cardiovascular activities, and the most important factor in elevating BMR and aiding fat loss, weight training. I hope I have been able to convey the message across, and for all of those who have queries, I am now going to take up your questions. I have a question from Shibu. Hi, I am a diabetic person. How can I control my sugar level doing exercise? Is it possible for me to do this by workouts? Mr. Shibu, it is very much possible for you to control your sugar levels with exercise. like I explained you about the 3 ingredients that we have to lose fat, that is, firstly comes your weight training. Weight training will help you build more muscle. The more muscle you have, the more storage area will you have for this excess sugar which is just circulating in your body. So that will take care of your blood sugar levels. Diet definitely plays a very important role in managing sugar levels. So that is something that you have to take care of, for which you can consult a good sports nutritionist who can advise you as to what kind of diet you should be taking. To give you a brief idea, you should be having sources of carbohydrates which are absorbed slowly. So having things which are high in sugar or which get absorbed very fast should be avoided. Certain type of fruits like banana, chiku, even all these things have to be avoided. Cardiovascular activity will again, like I said, cardiovascular activity has its own benefits, so that will help you benefit at that front. At the same time, it will also let you be away from whatever diseases that we have seen that can happen because of insulin resistance. So all these 3 ingredients have to be mixed well so that you are able to control your sugar levels. And like your query was, is it possible? Yes, it is definitely possible. But you cannot expect a cure to diabetes. You can definitely control your sugar levels. Avanti has asked a question: how can I get rid of post-pregnancy fat? Avanti, post-pregnancy fat is nothing but again body fat. So to lose body fat, the only tool that we have is increasing your BMR. So the answer goes the same. A good proper diet planned by a sports nutritionist, a well-planned structured workout program which includes weight training, cardiovascular activities, flexibility training. In weight training, the choice of exercises is very important. You should be using exercises which are compound. That means which involves more muscle groups, bigger muscle groups when you're training, which will give rise to more surface area of damage. That means more muscle will break down, more repair process will take place, more muscle will build, and eventually your BMR will increase and the body fat percentage will definitely drop down. I have a question from Kamal. Hi, I want to ask if doing a 20-minute cardio daily with half an hour of weight training, 2 muscle groups, 6 days a week, is it proper way to lose some fat? No, Mr. Kamal, this would not be the ideal way of losing fat. 20 minutes of cardio daily would not be challenging enough activity. If at all you take up cardio, take it thrice a week. You can begin with 20 minutes of cardio activity and then go on to 30, 40, 45. So progression at that level is very important. Same with weight training. When you're doing weight training, you have to see to it that you're progressing week by week in your weight training sessions also. When it comes to combining muscle groups, we combine muscle groups depending on their function. So we have like a pulling muscle complex, we have a pushing muscle complex, and then we have your leg muscles. So we divide the weight training sessions depending on these muscle groups. 6 days a week of training would be ideal, but it has to be divided into 3 days of cardiovascular training and 3 days of weight training. And progression is very, very important. Proper diet and nutrition is very important. And rest again is very, very important. Rajesh Medikeri has a doubt, and that is how to reduce body fat within a month. Please give guarantee for results. Okay. There is no guarantee for results because everything depends on your dedication and your discipline. We have a very good recipe that I have presented before you, that is proper diet, nutrition, your workout. So if you follow that, of course you will definitely see a significant drop in your body fat. But before that, you need to be sure of what your goals are and then work on them. Ashok Kulkarni has asked, is there a way other than burning calories to get rid of fat? I'm afraid there is no such way of burning fat except burning calories, because when we talk of fat, we are actually talking of the unused calories. So fat is body's unused calories. So if you need to get rid of fat, you need to get rid of that extra calorie that has piled up. So burning calories by far is the only way to lose fat. Pavan Kumar has asked, what is the proper diet in terms of meals? A proper diet would mean a combination of protein, carbohydrates, fats, wherein we include first class proteins. For a vegetarian, it would mean skimmed paneer, skimmed milk, skimmed dahi. For a non-vegetarian, it would mean chicken, eggs, red meat, depending on your goal to lose weight or to lose fat. So that would be in terms of protein. When it comes to carbohydrates wherein you have more fiber in them are the better option that you should be taking. And when it comes to fat, again healthy fat, a good quality fat is very essential. So for a proper diet, you should be going to a sports nutritionist who will plan a structured diet for you depending on your body weight, depending on your goals, so that she or he would be the best person to guide you in terms of proper diet. Rajesh has a query that I had mentioned in the slide about body fat, and he wants to know how do we calculate it. There's no need to calculate body fat. It was just an explanation given to know whether you have body fat or no, and how much body fat do you have. So how do you kind of assess it by self? So a very simple method, like I said, was just jumping naked in front of the mirror and see whatever is hanging. Now whatever is hanging is nothing but body fat. So over the period of say few weeks, few months, once you start going on a fat loss program which includes exercises and diet, and you keep seeing that change in your body wherein the hanging nature of the body has reduced, it means that you have lost considerable amount of body fat. So that would be the best way, like inch loss would be the best way to judge whether you have lost body fat or not. Urmila Talathi has asked how to reduce belly fat. Urmila, this belly fat is not really belly fat. This is your body's fat. So you do not have fat in your belly really. It is body's fat which is accumulated in your belly. So if you need to get rid of it, you need to work on your entire body. You can't target a specific body part and start training on that part only to get results in that part. So spot reduction is something which is not possible because body fat does not belong to a body part. Like fat does not belong to a body part. It is a part of the entire body. So you need to work on the entire body, use compound exercises, follow a proper diet, and definitely your inch loss around the belly will be seen significantly. Ashok Kulkarni has asked, do I need to take up a medical checkup before taking up body exercises for controlling or reducing fat at your fitness centers? A basic assessment would be a good idea to go for. You should be informing the respective trainer about your medical conditions so that they can help you train accordingly. If you have any joint problems, any other medical problems, so that has to be informed to the trainer. And then if the trainer feels that you need to be referred to a specialist, he would definitely advise you that, or we may start the training accordingly. Parag, does intense cardio exercises lose muscle mass apart from fat? Excessive cardio could make you lose your muscle mass, but again, that could happen even with weight training. What we are doing with exercises is actually breaking the body, putting that extra stress on the body. What works in our favor is when we take the proper diet and we take proper rest. So if you are into cardio exercises, you need to see to it that you're supplementing yourself with good amount of first class proteins which help preventing muscle mass loss. So if that's not in place, definitely you may lose muscle mass if you are into excessive cardio activities. Manas has asked, would you advise completely avoiding fat in the diet? Absolutely not. We have these three macronutrients, that is protein, carbohydrates, fat. So none of them should be completely avoided in the diet. Depending on your goal, whatever you want to achieve out of your body, these ratios of each of these macronutrients might change. So there is absolutely no need to avoid any of them in your diet. Kavita has asked, what is your opinion about crash diet, as I want to lose weight for my cousin's wedding? Crash dieting, not a very good thing to do, Kavita, because again crash dieting would be limiting your calorie intake. You would probably avoid eating food throughout the day, probably go on starving, not eat enough. This will eventually decrease your BMR. And through the webinar, we have studied one thing, we have understood one thing, that the tool or the best way to lose fat would be increase the BMR and not decrease it. So crash diet would probably temporarily give you some amount of weight loss, which definitely would not be healthy, because you would have probably lost your precious tissue, that is muscle and not fat. So you may look nice at your cousin's wedding because you would have lost some weight, but definitely you will pile up more or probably double and triple that weight once you start eating the normal diet. And moreover, it's a very unhealthy way of losing weight, and it would not help you lose fat really. Maria has asked, I consume red meat daily. Should I continue, or would you suggest some changes? Red meat would be a great source of protein. At the same time, it also has saturated fats. So depending on your body type and depending on your body composition, you can definitely show your diet routine to a nutritionist and get her feedback on it, and then accordingly decide whether you need to continue having it on a daily basis, or you could have little ups and downs, like once in a week or twice in a week. So that would depend on your body type, your body composition, and the nutritionist plan for your diet. Shabina has asked, which exercises are best to increase muscle mass? Like I said, weight training would be the ideal way of increasing muscle mass. Now, when you take up weight training, you do not go to the gym and start lifting weights aimlessly. There's a proper structure that has to be given to your workout, to your weight training schedule. Body parts have to be divided in such a way that you are not using one body part, many times in a week, so that there is no risk of injury. You are combining muscle groups which function together. You are choosing exercises which will make you burn more calories eventually, which will lead to more micro trauma. So that way you have to choose exercises which are compound in nature, which are power movements. Then you have exercises which shouldn't be supported all the time. So unsupported exercises is again the way of choosing the right exercise pattern. So when you go enroll yourself in a gym and you take up personal training, or you ask a trainer for assistance, I'm sure you would be guided enough to take up the right structured way of weight training. Kaushal has asked, what if we take break in diet or in exercise suddenly due to time issue? Will it increase very fast? Let me ask you a question, Kaushal. If you do not sleep for days together, if you do not visit that washroom for like days together, how would you feel? Would you still be very comfortable with that feeling? Would you feel healthy with that feeling? Absolutely not. So why a different rule for diet and exercise? If you break your diet, if you break your exercise routine, and you go out of the way and eat all unhealthy stuff, of course you are bound to increase fat at a very faster pace. But if you maintain your diet, if you kind of pitch in some time for exercise, then definitely your results would be sustained and maintained. There's a question, what is a good source of protein for vegetarians? Unfortunately, we do not have, good first class proteins for vegetarians. The only source of protein for them, first class protein for them, would be milk and milk products. Now again in that, choosing milk or milk products which are high on fat would not be the ideal thing to do. So skimmed paneer, skimmed milk, skimmed dahi would be the right sources of protein for vegetarians. Parul from Mumbai has asked, will abdominal crunches help in reducing inches around the waist? No, Parul, abdominal crunches will absolutely not help you reduce inches around the waist. Abdominal crunches are the exercises done to strengthen your abdominal muscles. And like I have been telling, that the fat around your abdomen is not abdomen fat. It is basically body fat. So no amount of crunches would help you get rid of that tire that you have around your belly. So absolutely no. Mamta has asked a question. I weigh 60 kgs and my height is 5 feet. How frequently should I do weight training? One rule applies to all, Mamta. 3 times a week would be weight training, and 3 times a week would be cardiovascular training, and 1 day would be devoted to rest. So be it any age group of person, this would be very ideal. This would be like the ideal way of going about weight training and exercises. If you have some time constraints, you could make it 4 times a week or 3 times a week and then divide your activities in such a way. But if you ask me the ideal way, it would be 3 times cardiovascular training and 3 times weight training. Urmila, is it possible to burn fat without losing weight? Urmila, your body weight would comprise of fat, muscle, your organ weight, the water content in the body, your bone weight. So all of that comprises of body weight. Now when you start losing fat, you are bound to see a drop in your weight. But what is most important, and what is that something you should be observing when you're losing, is that your inches should drop significantly. So when your inches are going down, when your body is getting that shape, that means definitely you are losing on fat and not muscle or any precious. Kauhal has extended his question by saying that diet is difficult sometimes. So what is the best way to control mind? Kauhal, at times if you binge on unhealthy food and junk food, it's okay. But if you make it as a routine thing, it wouldn't be right. So cheats here and there are alright as long as you are dedicated enough to your workout schedules and you hit the gym every day, depending on whether you're doing cardiovascular training or weight training. So that discipline has to be there before you even think of cheating on your diet quite often. Manisha from Tarapur has asked, many slimming centers promise weight reduction through machines. Is it a good option for losing weight? No, Manisha, that would be a very bad option to lose weight, because what you would be losing is not really fat. You would be losing most of your water from the body, you would be losing your muscles from the body, and that in no way is going to help increase your BMR. So even if you lose few inches and a little bit of drop in the weight on the weighing scale by going for few sessions of these machine therapy, you will definitely pile them up later, because you have not really worked on your basal metabolic rate. Urmila Talati has a doubt that she has reached a plateau level and she's been doing cardio and weight training, but nothing seems to really help her. Like I said, Urmila, in one of the doubts, when I was clearing one of the doubts, progression is very important. So if you're doing the same kind of exercise for months together, no progression there, no increase in intensity, if it is not as challenging as it was when you had started doing that exercise, that means you have not really been working out to the optimal level. And when it comes to proper dieting, I sitting here would not be able to comment until and unless I see your proper diet chart. So I suggest that you show it to a proper nutritionist, and there's nothing like dieting really. It is just about having a proper diet. Urmila has also asked if there are any special exercises to reduce body fat. Like I've briefed you all that weight training would be the ideal way to lose body fat, combined with proper diet and cardiovascular activities. So when it comes to weight training, choice of exercises again depends on the structure of your workout, that is, incorporating exercises which involve major muscle groups, larger muscle groups combined together, doing compound exercises, doing unsupported exercises. So when you go to a gym, you will definitely be guided according to how it has to be taken from there on. Mayank has asked a question whether supplements should be taken while you are doing weight training. Supplement, the word itself means that it supplements something. Okay, so if your diet is not really supplementing you enough or is not providing you sufficient enough of proteins, you may need a supplement in the form of protein powder, that is whey protein. So it's not mandatory for everyone to have protein powders, but yes, if your diet is not allowing you, or if your diet does not fulfill your body's protein requirement, which ideally is the case in most of us, we do really have to go for supplements. The next reason for supplements is also convenience. So after workout, if you can't have like 6 to 8 egg whites, scoop of a protein powder would be more convenient. So it's not that you cannot build body and you cannot increase your muscle mass. Thank you all for listening patiently. Lastly, all I want to say is that don't compromise with your health. Fit is the new rich. Take care of what you eat. Don't diet. Eat according to your goals. Exercise to stay fit, as the pain of being overweight is far worse than the pain of working out. You all can hear the webinar again on YouTube after a week. To know more, log on to our website www.talwalkars.net. Like us on www.facebook.com/talwalkarsindia. Follow us on www.twitter.com/mytalwalkars. Read more on www.talwalkarfitness.blogspot.com and subscribe on www.youtube.com/talwalkarsho. SMS FIT to 53636 for further details. Thank you very much and sorry for the inconvenience caused.